Hey, good evening. It's 6:30. I'm going to call to order meeting number 1887 of the East Windsor Planning and Zoning Commission. We are here live in the John Daly Meeting Room of the East Windsor Town Hall, as well as on the Zoom platform. We're going to begin tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a quorum. We have 4 regular members as well as 1 alternate. Wayne, I'm going to ask you to participate in any voting that may take place tonight.
Okay.
Are there any added agenda items?
No.
There are none. There was a legal notice. The East Windsor Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, January 14th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Details regarding how to attend will be published on the commission's agenda and will be made available on the town's website. PZ 2024-17, applicant owner is William Crespo, Carrie Corbett, FC Casey LLC, is requesting a special use permit for a church in an existing commercial building pursuant to section 304, allowed uses in any zone in the East Windsor zoning regulations, located at 38 Prospect Hill Road, map 92, block 17, lot 32, zone M1. A full copy of the application is available on the Planning and Zoning Commission's webpage of the town's website. All interested persons may attend this meeting and provide verbal or written comments regarding this application. This was posted in the Journal Inquirer on January 3rd, 2025, and on January 10th, 2025. Okay, we are at the public participation portion of our meeting. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on a topic that is not on tonight's agenda? Yes, sir, please identify yourself.
Mike Mack, 5 Hickory Trail. I'm a resident and representative of Newberry Village. I just wanted to inform the commission that we believe that the final dwelling in Newberry Village will be closed this week or next week. And our concern is that there may be a forthcoming request for performance release bond. And we just wanted to do our due diligence and remind everybody that the road is still incomplete and that there's currently violation pending in front of the Inland and Wetlands Commission. And we were always also curious what kind of time frame is involved for him to complete the tasks that are part of the bond.
Can I give you an answer to that?
That was just kind of a side question, and I thought maybe you guys couldn't answer. I plan on pursuing that, but I just wanted to bring that up because we think there may be a closing this week. We're concerned that perhaps Jim might request a release of bond funds.
Can I speak to process?
Please.
Before any bond money would be released, an as-built plan would be required to be submitted to the zoning official and the town engineer. We would inspect the property to make sure that the site was satisfying the conditions of approval and that the road was satisfactorily installed. Last I heard, Jim Giorgio was going to be paving when the asphalt plants open in the spring. That's what I have to offer.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Mr. Anderson?
Paul Anderson, 89 Main Street, Broadbrook. Okay. We have 2 public hearings and documentation is provided on the website, town's website. The documents that relate to those public hearings, which is great. So the public has access to that. However, we have one that's a continued public hearing going on since November. Documents get added. The documents, you only see the name of the file. It's all you can see on the website. There's no dates. Sometimes there's a date, sometimes there isn't, which means that the public trying to keep up with what's going on here can't figure out, is this a new document, an old document? We have to open up all the documents and see what the dates on the inside of the document are to figure out what's new. And as the numbers progress, it gets harder and harder and harder. Now, a public hearing is open to the public needs the information. The commissioners, I don't believe, have this issue because you get given documents, but we don't. We have to go find them. Now,
Can't you sort by the date on the
you can't
file?
sort by anything.
Thought you could see the date on those files on the
Yeah,
website.
they're added.
Yeah, I thought you could see that date sequentially to at least.
So
There is no date.
they're added as
I would like to continue my presentation.
Of course, I was just,
I'm gonna give you
Sorry.
examples of what it looks like, because I don't think you guys have to see it, but you should. Okay, so there's no way to sort, look at, or figure it out. Cannot be done. So if you have time, look at the website, you'll see what I'm talking about. Every single file name provided to the public in that format needs a date as part of the name, so we can figure out how recent is it. This has been brought up to staff multiple times, but it's not getting fixed, which is why I'm bringing it up here. Okay, I'm very disappointed, and it makes a lot of effort. We need consistency on how things are done. Now, here are the two current public hearings we have and what the documents look like. That's what we have to choose from. There is no way in the world to understand if a document got added. Some of them have dates, some of them don't have dates. That's what we get. It's unacceptable. And I'm getting tired of bringing it up. So I will also be bringing it up to Jason Bowser, since everybody in this town hall works for him. Apparently, the people who are getting paid don't have consistent rules to follow. If they did, they probably would. If they're not, then they're not doing their job, but I don't know that. But we do need consistency. We need some method so the public has access to things in a reasonable fashion. I'm very, very concerned. I also have a suggestion, for what it's worth, on how dates can be formatted in a very simple way that is normally done on computer systems. 8 characters total, no matter what. You don't have to start typing January and fiddly-doos and commas and garbage because it takes up space and you have limited space. That's all you need, is a very simple format. That is not a requirement, that is a suggestion. And that, to me, I'm very concerned that you guys don't see this because you're given a package of documents. What happened? All right, thank you. I will be giving this to the first selectman as well.
Okay. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone online that would like to comment on something that's not on tonight's agenda? Okay. Moving on to approval of minutes. We have the minutes of our last regular meeting, November 26th, 2024. Does anyone have any alterations or edits that they say needed?
No.
Do not as well. So if there are none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the Tuesday, November 26, 2024 meeting, which was meeting 1885 as presented.
There's a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
second?
By Dave, any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Just one correction perhaps. I think I'm noted here as being absent if this is the end of that list, and I was online for that, for the officers election. Unless it's the, am I drive two pages here together?
When Katie added the corrections from the previous meeting, she added a lot of text. to
Okay.
The line numbers.
Okay, so it's really this last page. I'm in it.
Yeah.
Right, thank you.
We're good as stands? Okay, Dave, you did not vote.
You just say aye, sorry.
You,
No, I said second.
oh, I'm sorry, but you
I
said,
seconded.
and you voted in affirmative. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, I apologize. Yes.
Well, then the minutes are approved. Receipt of applications. We have two applications to receive. EZ 2024-18, applicant owner is Brendan Kolnick, HMC Real Estate Partners LLC, East Windsor Limited Partnership, is requesting a zoning change, map change for address at 10 Craftsman Road from M1 to PCD for section 817 of the East Windsor zoning regulations, map 93, block 19, lot 12-2. The zone is an M1. That application will be heard at a future meeting. The other application we are receiving is PZ 2025-01. The applicant owner is Johnny East LLC, Russell Cable, MGR, is submitting a re-subdivision application to create one additional building lot located at 96 Depot Street, map 99, block 54, lot 7, zone is an R2. That will also be heard at a future meeting. Okay, nothing under performance bonds, actions, permit extensions, or road acceptance. So we have a continued public hearing, which is PZ 2024-16. The applicant owner is MJMT Enterprises LLC. Precision Developer LLC is requesting a special use permit for a 10-lot residential subdivision, including 2 rear lots located at East Road and Reservoir Ave, map 100, block 78, lot 5, zone R3. The applicant has submitted in a request to have this extended, continued to our next meeting, which would be January 28th. So somebody give us a motion to continue the public hearing.
Before we do that, I just would like to verify we're not in a timeline problem with that.
This would be the last extension, so they're allowed a 65-day.
So this won't put us beyond
This
the
will put us
timeline.
at day 63.
Okay. Then I will make a motion to grant the applicant's request to extend the closing date of the public hearing for PZ 2024-16. The owner applicant is MJMT Enterprises LLC, Precision Developer LLC for a 10-lot subdivision with 2 rear lots until January 28th, 2025. This will be the final extension granted.
There's a motion to continue the public hearing. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Unanimous, continued to our next meeting. Yes. Okay, we have a new public hearing. EZ 2024-17, applicant owner is William Crespo, Carey, Corbett, FCKC LLC, is requesting a special use permit for a church in an existing commercial building pursuant to section 304, allowed uses in any zone of the East Windsor zoning regulations located at 38 Prospect Hill Road, map 92, block 17, lot 32. Zone is M1. Who's here to speak on behalf of this application?
Name's William Crespo here, for the Alfarero, Alfarero Church.
We are a group of people in Spanish. We're trying to make official that place, that building. In person. For like a church. So we are around 17, 20 persons between person and.
Does anyone have any questions for this applicant?
From a traffic perspective, I don't see an issue. It's right at the corner by Walmart.
Correct.
So the small number of cars would be insignificant compared to what Walmart generates.
So from the site plan, it looks like they're offering you, is it 7 parking spaces? 13 parking spaces. That's what it says.
Yeah, the site plans are.
Oh, for total.
Yeah.
So they're offering you 7 parking spaces. You say you have 20 people that attend?
17 people, but the time is by 2.
So it's around 13, 14,
Yeah,
In person.
In person.
and around 5 cars. Total.
Okay.
Dollar per person.
The other thing I went and looked at the site and I saw that there's a used car dealer there currently. Are there plans for him to relocate the cars that he has there now? Because that lot was full of cars as well as they were parked up on the grass across the whole front of the property as well. So they give you any assurances that they would relocate that to give you more room for traffic access?
For sure, no, but I'm thinking he's gonna move the next
To the side of the
to the
building.
side of the building.
Yeah, the service is Tuesday 7 to 9 p.m., Thursday 7 to 9 p.m., and Sunday 10 to 12. And that time, every single business there is closed. Nobody there at that time.
The car dealer during the week, their operating hours?
Monday to Saturday,
Till how late are they open till?
to 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock? And
Saturday is by appointment.
and then you're starting your services at 7? And you're aware that there still has to be a recalculation of your occupancy for the property as well?
Yeah, the fire marshal went today over there and he did the measurement, he said less than 50 people.
Anyone else have any questions? Yes, Wayne?
Is there bathrooms available?
Yes.
Will you guys be putting up a sign? Will you be putting a sign up?
And when everything is done and the certificates and
You will, I know.
permits, yeah.
Is the lighting adequate? Is there adequate site lighting for you guys for the evening hours? Is there outdoor lights, parking to the paths and?
Strictly would be on the building, right? I don't see any pole lighting there.
Well, yeah. There's no site improvement.
proposed at all, strictly. So whatever lighting they would have would be wall packs.
I had. You guys finish.
Does anyone else have any questions? Staff comments?
So there's no site improvements proposed. One item I thought the commission might want to consider is having designated parking signs. The space for the church.
Reserved for the church use on Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
I wrote that into a draft motion.
Number 3 on the conditions.
They will have to get a change of occupancy permit from the building official. That's when they do all the code inspections, and that's what started today out there,
Okay.
as the applicant spoke to. And the fire marshal did note that he worked with the property owner to clear the fire lane. There's a lot of over parking.
Mhm. They'll look at all ADA requirements and all that stuff, part of that as well. Nobody else on the commission has anything? This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the public that would like to comment on this application? Yes, ma'am.
It's on the street, right from. Woman said like a church. Is it a church? Or is it like a church?
It's because when we call it church, but for some people, the assembly is gonna be a church because depending on the group of people. Church. Bible studies, praying God.
Were they registered as a 503C or something like to that effect, or
That I didn't know.
that you don't know? Are you registered as a business or
Not for profit or?
It's a nonprofit?
In the state, yes.
you have a, not, okay.
In Spanish, Iglesia Cristiana Allende la Pared.
Any other questions? Mr. Anderson?
Paul Anderson, 89 Main Street, Rutland. When I first saw this, I think the take of might be that, oh boy, there goes commercial and into a tax-free status. But in thinking this over and calming down, I think it's a great idea. I'm 100% in favor.
Okay. Personally, I think ownership would have to take place in order to get the tax-free status. They're leasing space. Yeah. Anyone else? Is there anyone online that would like to comment on this application? Okay, one last run through. Anybody else has anything else? Staff is satisfied? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on application PZ 2024-17 for a special use permit for a church.
There's a motion to close the public hearing. Do we have a second?
Second?
Second by Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. Hey, everybody feel comfortable to vote on this application?
Yes.
I'll entertain a motion on this application.
I'll make a motion to approve application PZ 2024-17 for a special use permit for a church. This approval is granted subject to conformance with the submitted application, supporting materials, and public hearing presentation, and the following conditions/modifications. Findings: the proposed location complies with the standards set forth in section 304 and section 701 of the East Windsor zoning regulations. The property is zoned M1, which allows for this use. The proposed use will not have a detrimental effect on public health, safety, welfare, convenience, and property values. And it comes with 5 conditions. Number 1, a change of occupancy permit issued by the building official is required prior to the commencement of its use. 2, the maximum capacity shall be determined by the fire marshal. 3, 7 parking spaces shall be reserved and noted by signage for the church. 4, the applicant shall relinquish this special permit upon termination of lease at this property. And 5, a copy of the certificate of action shall be filed on the land records.
Okay, we have a motion to approve this application. Do we have a second?
Second?
Second by Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 The application is approved.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right, we have no old business, no new business. Other business, we have an informal discussion on 10 Craftsman Road in East Windsor. Who's here to speak on this?
Good evening, Jay Ursary, J.R. Russo. Also here with me is Brendan Kalnick. Brendan is one of the principals in HMC Real Estate Partners. And this discussion that we'd like to talk to you about involves 10 Craftsman Road, which you just made an application for the zone change to your commercial development district. So I've got a little bit of material here that I put together that I'd like to hand out before we get started. And I'll try to make this quick if I can. Sometimes that doesn't always happen, but we'll do our best. This is actually part of the application that was submitted with this zone change application. Some, probably, but I'm thinking about some smaller copies.
Probably easier.
Yeah. It might be easier to look at, you don't need to fix this. Sorry. So HMC entered into a contract with East Windsor Limited Partnership. And these parcels are down on Craftsman Road, just before you get to the corner by, and I still call it the Mushroom Factory. It's, you know, it's not, it's solar panels, what's in these days. Everybody knows kind of where that is. So,
Of course.
back in 2006, we came before you, and East Windsor Limited had purchased that entire property, which included the mushroom plant. And in total, I think about 80 some odd acres. I don't remember the exact, I forgot. It started essentially just at that last building before you get to the WPCA pump station is. And then winds around the corner and comes back out to Newberry. So I think we had 6 lots there in total. So far, the only thing that's happened is the new building for, trying to remember not who they are.
The lineman union,
Yeah, the lineman.
EBW.
Yeah.
They purchased 2 lots, they put up their office building, and they've got
Training.
a training center or a pole training center that they use there. Other than that, nothing's happened. There's other lots that are still available. So Brendan and his team have a contract with East Windsor Limited to purchase 2 lots. 10 Craftsman and 14 Craftsman, and side by side. So that would be the 2 lots between where the mushroom building is and coming back up into the existing park. So they've been essentially marketing these 2 properties now for, I don't know, 6 months, Brendan, somewhere thereabouts. We met their group back in, I guess, late summer, worked on some concept plans, and in the cover letter for the zone change, it talks a little bit about what they do. They own a number of properties in New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and they manage them, and they have various different types of tenants. And on these particular parcels, they've been talking to a utility contractor needing a dispatch building, some storage area for vehicles and equipment. They've talked to a commercial contractor that needs warehouse space and some outside storage, and a logistics company that needs a maintenance facility for trucks and trailers and a substantial amount of outside storage, which is something that, as we all know, with the explosion of e-commerce since COVID, that it's become a real hot market, probably all across the country, because now that we all, even myself, being not too savvy, I've learned how to buy things online, so I can sit in the couch with my laptop and get my credit card out of my wallet, and I can shop. I'm not sure that I went to a store anywhere this Christmas. I think I bought everything online, which I only have to shop for my wife, so it's not too hard, but it's just easy and everything comes to the door. I bought something not too long ago and I ordered it on a Sunday afternoon, and the next day it showed up at our house, and I was amazed at how quickly it came. But that is one of the markets that's a growing market, and they are talking to one of those companies. So all of that said, we came in and met with staff and to talk about what we were trying to do, and we're taking a look at, the planned commercial development district, because it allows some flexibility when we go to that zone. And because the partnership here doesn't have a signed contract with an end user or a tenant, they're talking to many tenants. They thought for them that might be a good way to go. The staff thought, yep, this might be a good way to go. And it allows you to see a concept plan, talk about different things, and gets them in before the commission. So when they're out marketing, they can say, well, we've already been to planning and zoning, and they've seen what we want to do, and we're on board, and we've already started the process. And it's a great sales tool for them in terms of trying to market these properties. So we said, okay, well, let's do that. So we put the application in, you just accepted it earlier today. And after some more scrutiny and some review by town staff and reading through the regulation a little closer, it's kind of like, well, does this really meet the spirit of that regulation? Is it going to be a mixed use? Well, it could be. Maybe it's not going to be. We really don't know. And they thought maybe we should withdraw and go the standard route rather than your proactive application. However, and now I'm going to throw a curveball at you, staff. And I got to hand this to Brendan. He's sitting here, and I just handed this to him, and he's looking at it, he's reading it. And if you look at in your regulation, and I included a copy of your use table. And the use table lists a whole bunch of things where the underlying zone here is M1, and it lists a number of things that could potentially go here. And some of these things are potential clients or tenants that they may bring before you. However, when you get to the end and you look at other uses, and we come down to the bottom, there is a section that says multiple principal uses on a single parcel. and it's not allowed in the M1 zone. That could happen here. They could have multiple tenants in multiple buildings on a single parcel, which would seem to me to fit very well into your planned commercial development district. Would there be a company that is a logistics company that's using one of these parcels? And the one that it really fits, quite honestly, is number 10. The one that we're looking at. And if you look at the second page, which is a concept that I just tweeted out to you. This particular parcel is kind of bisected by a wetland and a little water course that comes in under the road. And we're showing two buildings, one to the east or to the left as we face it from the road, and one to the right. We've got a 10,000 square foot building and a 5,000 square foot building. And although this is one address and one parcel of land, these could very easily be two uses that might not be related, two principal uses on a single address and a single parcel of land. So after looking at it a little closer, which I'm going to see if Brendan needs a part-time job after the meeting, maybe come to work for us at the office, but it seems like, well, maybe it could fit. Could it be something that has multiple principal uses? And it probably could. And maybe very likely could, depending on who the tenants end up being. Certainly could be multiple buildings, it could be multiple uses. We're still not sure what they could be. They're still marketing, but we think it's something that maybe we'd like to look at a little closer with your staff. The thought here coming tonight was to get a little bit of feedback from you so that we at least could show a prospective tenant that, yeah, we've been before the Planning and Zoning Commission and we've gotten a little feedback and they don't think it's crazy that, you know, we could you here, we think your business could fit here. But looking at it a little closer, maybe your new planned commercial development district does fit this better than we had anticipated. And I guess we don't need an answer to that tonight. I think we can think about it a little bit. You got another meeting in 2 weeks. We don't need to schedule a public hearing. And if the thought comes back that we still don't think it meets the spirit and regulation, then we would withdraw the application and hopefully at least get a little feedback from the commission members after they've had some time to look at all of this and indicate that, yeah, I mean, all the uses that obviously are listed in the M1s we could do here. And they're not sure what it is yet, what it might be and who the tenant might be. These are big parcels, 10 acres, I think, and 13 acres, or 12 acres and 13 acres to two of them. So there's a lot of space here and a lot of area that could be used. And a logistics company is one that's probably got a pretty good shot of being here. With a maintenance facility, an office facility, and a fair amount of outside storage for trucks and trailers. That's probably something that could happen. But if not, it could be two smaller users. Hard to say what they might be, but they could be totally different type of operations in two separate buildings on a single parcel. So, Brendan, if you've got anything to add in terms of anybody you may have talked to more recently since we put the application in, or anything that you want to relate to the commission, certainly we could do it at this time. But if not, we could ask that we be continued, I guess, to your next meeting on the 22nd. No, 28th. And give you some time to look at all of this and for us to talk with the staff again a little more and think about it a little further and then see where that takes us on the 28th.
I got a couple of questions. Your concept would still retain ownership of the property. You'd be leasing out the spaces.
Yes, their intention is to build this space out and lease to tenants. Exactly. They're not going to sell this. They're gonna buy these, they're gonna develop them, and there will be leases to various tenants. And they may be related uses, they may not be, and there would very likely be multiple buildings.
So how does having split buildings like this differentiate from like what happened already on Newberry Road with
I say.
Coda's?
Yep.
Where he has multiple bays leased out to different people.
All
So
the
the
time.
fact that it's one building or multiple buildings, still kind of the same type of concept.
It's a similar concept where you've got multiple uses in a single building. What your regulation talks about, it does not allow.
Multiple buildings.
Is different uses, principal uses in multiple buildings on a single parcel.
That's the differentiation if it's a
Yeah,
single
it's
building or multiple
buildings,
buildings.
one building versus a multiple building. The concept that you're talking about, you have some of those in town.
Quite a few.
We just did one in Enfield last year. I think there's 10 tenant spaces in that building, and we've done, I can't even tell you how many in South Windsor, but one single owner who has, I don't even know how many buildings, how many spaces, hundreds of tenants, multiple buildings, different parcels, and it's a very good market. And the great thing that makes it work so well is that you would put in, let's say, a bay, maybe it's 18 feet wide or 20 feet wide, small office, and you continue down, bay door, office door, bay. Somebody comes in, they may want 2 bays, they may want 3 bays. Somebody may only want 1 bay, and you
Structural partitioning walls, keep going.
move walls, you move offices.
Where Jim is.
Mhm.
Fearless Rentals. where I started.
It's easy to do and can accommodate all kinds of different kinds of tenants and uses in that type of building. So it's worked very well. We've probably been doing it for 30 some odd years for different owners. The one that's in Enfield is, I think, about half or 3/4 leased. And it's 3 or 4 different tenants. So the difference here being,
Multiple
buildings.
yeah,
Instead of just
multiple
one.
buildings.
It's what you're going to a shopping plaza and you got a
Exactly.
building in the front of the lot, building in the back. They got multiple buildings on the same lot.
Exactly. And for whatever reason, it's apparently not allowed in the M1 zone. I'm not sure why, but it
Probably just never came up.
As far as mixed use, I don't see that as a great place to have residential along with, commercial.
Yeah,
It's a heavily
we looked.
industrial area, plus with Penske coming in and
One thing that did pop out that we talked about is recreation. It does allow recreation, and we all know about the pickleball craze. And there has been some early discussions with someone that was interested in pickleball. I don't know how many of you travel over to Ellington, but over on Lower Butcher Road, behind the juice plant, very close to the Barnyards manufacturing facility, there's a very large building that just went up.
near
Pickleball.
down the street from the Agway, yes.
Yeah, right down the street from Agway.
Yeah.
Way back off the road. I thought there was a.
No, it's close to the road. It's a
Oh,
yellow
it's a new
building.
one.
It's a yellow building, yeah.
Tennis building?
Yeah, it looks like tennis and
Yeah, it's-
pickleball.
Tennis and pickleball.
I did not know it was pickleball too.
I think that's what drove it. We've got another client that's talking to us about pickleball property. So that is one of the things that if it did come, it could fit here. It's a fairly large building. So there could be something of that nature. Possibly recreation and some type of a commercial use. We had some conversations recently in the office, another tennis club in another town that's been there for 30 some odd years that wanted to expand. So they want to put in pickleball.
Well, then why not petition to have a use change to have it allowed in the M1 then?
That's another option. That's another option.
Because I think the mixed use doesn't quite fit for that area.
It probably doesn't, although it's called out in your regulation as being allowed in the industrial core which in the plan of the P O C D, this falls within the industrial. The entire park falls in. So it's kind of I understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you. I don't think we're building apartments back there. Or a restaurant.
So I used to manage a property that they built apartments next door and then started complaining about the noise.
Yes.
Yep.
And
Had that,
we were forced to put up noise abatement walls and all kinds of, even though it was there 60 years prior.
look at the end of Show Road where our office is, and then you look at Prospect Hill. It's like there wasn't a whole lot of thought that went into that, but talking 50s and 60s, so it's a lot that they don't go together very well.
Anybody else have any other questions?
What was the plan with this big, large gravel storage yard? What was the intent?
So one of the companies that we are having some discussions with is a logistics delivery type company with trucks and trailers. And there would be an office facility, a maintenance facility for trucks and trailers and outside storage.
Have any further questions or comments?
Well, the driver initially in our conversation was for the concept plans for the marketing, which is the flexibility granted by this section. There's a list of allowed uses. And so far, we've heard maybe potentially there could be a pickleball as a recreation. I don't know about any of the other permitted uses on this list, whether there's an opportunity for any of these, like manufacturing, research laboratories, or there's event facilities.
817.7.
817.7.
I'm on page 126.
Allowable uses in plant commercial.
28. And there is a list of 14 uses, and then there's a mixed use with combination of the above uses. So that's something that look at those. See if there's potential there. And then section B of that is subsection B that says the commission shall have authority to determine that a proposed use which is not otherwise listed above may be allowed after finding such use to be in harmony with the overall purpose of the planned commercial development and the plan of conservation and development.
Can I clarify?
Sure.
Maybe one thing out loud. I think, so I agree with Ruth that one of the reasons why our initial recommendation was that they come here for an informal is that the uses that we've talked with them about don't fall into the list of uses for planned commercial. But I just want to sort of clarify that multiple principal uses is not the same thing as multiple principal buildings or multiple buildings. So when the CODA project went before you, you considered that one use. There are multiple users in the building, but it's a single use.
Yeah.
And so when we had this discussion with them last week, what we were hearing was you may have multiple users, they may be multiple businesses, but the overall use of the property, whether it be one building or five, is going to be contractor storage, indoor, outdoor, whatever. But the use of the building falls into one or buildings, property, one category, which is why we recommended they shift away from planned commercial, because it's the overall use of the property, whether it be logistics, contractor storage, interior space, they're going to have vehicles, they're going to have equipment. It's similar to what you've seen.
So would a better fit be that they petition to have the multiple uses as a special use permit in the M1 zone, have it allowed?
What we recommended was they withdraw this planned commercial, submit a site plan to get the industrial contractor storage yard approved at 2,000 square feet or less, because it's site plan by right. If they end up with a tenant that doesn't fall within a contractor storage yard, then they can come back, but that's a site plan application. If we don't know what the features are, we can't
change.
get us, it wouldn't make sense for them to spend the time on a text amendment or to seek a special permit. And the site plan application would take less time than the planned commercial anyway. So that was what got them here.
Is any of this helpful to you?
Not sure. I think I need to think about it.
Well, in theory, it shouldn't be helpful because we told you on Thursday, so maybe either you heard it wrong or we said it wrong last time, but
Well, that's not it at all. I mean, when I came here tonight, I was headed down a path until Brendan pointed out to me, well, we could have multiple buildings with multiple principal uses on a 10-acre parcel of land, and I agree, that could happen. And it's not currently allowed in the M zone, and quite honestly, I had never really noticed that before. It doesn't make sense to me that it's not allowed in the M zone, because it does happen often.
Is that a better path than to petition the text amendment?
It could be,
I still think it comes down to the users.
It does.
Because to their point, Scott Coda's building is multiple users, but one use.
Similar nature. Yeah.
One building use.
Right, so the prohibition on multiple principal uses does not preclude you from having multiple tenants.
Oh, no, I understand.
I think that's where
So
we
the-
left off.
If logistics and what else could we?
Storage.
Storage, would that be considered similarly use? Or- I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean,
Logistics and a contractor storage yard with equipment and some stockpiles and so forth.
We do,
I mean, those are,
similar.
they're both allowed.
Size wise.
Yeah,
but
like
they would be
warehousing.
separate buildings and they are different uses.
fine. Maybe,
I mean,
Not sure.
I mean, to Ruth Ann's point, there's so many things in this planned commercial development that really would not fit their daycares and things like that.
There's actually a daycare there today. On Craftsman Road.
Truly.
Yes,
daycare.
yes, there is.
so I can read out loud the definition of contractor storage yard. It's a storage yards operated by or on behalf of a contractor for storage of large equipment, vehicles, other materials commonly used by contractors for services off-site, storage of scrap materials used for repair and maintenance of contractors' own equipment and buildings or structures for uses such as offices and repair facilities. That's a pretty inclusive definition. So there's a lot of things that could be happening there that an individual tenant might be doing that are different from his or her neighbor, but would still fall into that category.
And would principal use just be like 51% of what it is?
Well, I think most of what we've heard, the principal use would be the contractor storage yard.
That's one principal.
Industrial activity is a principal use.
Could be an electrician, it could be some other person, could be,
Fleet maintenance.
this one is,
It's just something
yeah,
that
from August.
certainly could happen. It's happening across the street.
Yeah.
Will be shortly, under construction.
And then subbing out from there across the street to another side or ancillary business, just add. That'll spawn out small little business there, fence hydraulic hose builders,
Yeah.
or fence facts and engineering. You'll see a bunch of small little support structures come up now.
Anything else we can help you with? Thanks.
From my understanding, forgive my ignorance, but fleet maintenance, as an example, fleet parking maintenance, equipment rental, those are both potentially viable uses here with a large outdoor component to them. It's not clear to me that either of those would be consistent with the contractor yard. Is that correct?
So
I think it's.
I guess the clarification we need is allowed uses in an M1. If they had two allowed uses, is that permitted, or does that now fall under multiple principal uses on one parcel? So again, like automotive is allowed in there. Truck, recreation vehicles sales is allowed.
Inventory holding.
Yeah,
Auto repair. Truck equipment, yeah, you read.
so if in their scenario, two buildings on the same parcel, one of them's doing one thing and the other one's doing the other, is that acceptable? Is that permissible? Or does that fall under the multiple principal uses? Guess that's the question to be answered.
I think if you had Coda, you had a Coda building in one side and you had a Penske on the other, right? Because those are the things we're talking about. That's where you could come into a situation where you have multiple principal buildings. Because you have two buildings that are dedicated to completely separate uses. And those buildings are not at all connected in how they're being used. So if they wanted to build a small building with a big outdoor storage yard and they wanted to lease it out to Amazon to run their little trucks and have a fleet there, and then have 5 contractor bays with 5 different contractors in them in a separate building, then we're getting into multiple principal uses territory.
So then
But that
there's
we-
to be a change to the reg to make that allowed.
Right, either to come, yeah, either to redefine what one of the allowable uses is, or to remove that designation for the multiple principal uses.
Couldn't you avoid this by splitting the parcels up,
Mhm.
treating them each as their own individual parcel, rezone,
You could, a re-subdivision, I suppose, is possible,
just carve it?
but from and this is getting into the business end of things, financing and so on and so forth. I don't know how that affects them in terms of ownership and so forth. All those things that they would have to look at from a business standpoint, whether it makes more sense as a single or a double. I can tell you that the tax assessor, should you do the resub and create multiple lots, that the value goes up.
Mhm.
You can change, you're paying more in taxes. For sure, no matter what's.
And then the subdivision regs with all the street lighting and the sidewalks and all that other stuff comes into play.
Value of the land goes up, they'd be paying more taxes, however. Maybe the value of the land goes up, you pay more taxes, but then maybe it's.
You avoid all this,
Yeah.
then it's just a straight,
It's
build a building, put it up, and there's your one building with numerous bays.
There's a lot of.
It's clean.
things that Need to be considered, it's not. Simple as, I probably think it is at face value, it's just. There's a lot to it. But I think what I'm hearing is. Based on what we've talked about now, which is a number of things, and it's got a little muddy, that everything we're talking about, one way or another, could happen here and be allowed, whether it's a special use permit and a text amendment, or whether it does come in under the planned commercial development district, or it doesn't sound like any of the things we're talking about are something that this commission is saying, no, you can't do that there. I don't think I'm hearing that.
Accurate, or is there opposition to one way more than the other?
I need to know what the use is, kind of.
It's very
That's
hard,
the hard
yeah, without
thing.
knowing a use.
Yeah.
I understand. I'm talking about the uses that we had mentioned.
The most sought after piece of this is the concept of it.
The concept of.
To be able to
It
go
is.
market with something without really knowing, that's like, that's.
All right, because I was reading into it, that it was multiple principal uses was your main
So,
thing. in one.
well, I think the fact that they're looking at this as multiple principal uses is their way to achieve the concept plan through the planned commercial development district. So,
That's where the flexibility comes in with the
right,
planned
So-
commercial development.
So-
district, which would, I think, allow the commission to approve multiple principal uses, being that you have some flexibility.
it's a pathway, trying to find a pathway. It's the first time through for the commission, for staff to use the planned commercial development district regulations. They've been on the books for a couple of years.
And I,
We haven't, we're, how the application of it and getting to what was the vision
Well, my interpretation was it was to promote mixed use. That's what the
Eh.
reason that was created, because needed the housing and also, you know, be able to develop some more commercial use as
But the
well.
trade-off for the flexibility was going above and beyond the green buildings and the, and adding amenities that aren't required.
So there's more scrutiny, which I think these folks understand that the bar gets moved higher on what gets built.
Does it make sense just to continue everything till the next meeting? Obviously, we're not gonna set a public hearing date. We've got some more time to think and maybe talk with Ruth and Mike, about a path forward, and then we can address it on the 28th.
This is just a formal discussion.
Yeah.
Like the,
Yeah.
yes, there's really nothing to
No.
continue.
Oh, but they did submit an application.
Right, you've
What
accepted.
they're saying is,
Oh,
so
I see.
rather than hearing the application at the next meeting, we just continue
Continue
it
it.
Gotcha.
Next meeting.
Okay.
Right.
Sorry about
until
that.
they finally decide which path they want to go.
The only thing that I'll come back to is I'm not, if you look at the 15 uses that are specified in planned commercial, none of them really get into the type, it's 817.7. They don't really get you to the uses you're talking about. Restaurants, retail, professional business office, place of assembly, personal service, multiple family dwellings, assisted living, daycare, light manufacturing, research and development, indoor storage, indoor rec, event facilities, medical office, or mixed use of any of the above uses. So it doesn't, the things that we're contemplating.
Vehicle maintenance and
Right.
commercial and industrial lot. And how, which one of those uses would you tie it into?
I don't know, the way I read this, and maybe I don't understand it, talks about big uses. The way it's written, it says, however, generally uses within the district may include. It's not specific to me.
Yeah, that's where, yeah. So that's trying to lump it under the or other category. Right.
And I guess when you read B, that's what it gives you flexibility to approve something that may not be in the list that precedes it.
Lose it to the harmony.
I understand what you're saying, you know, other than some indoor recreation, I don't know that any of those can fit here. I don't disagree with you there, or disagree. I think that's accurate. Not going to be the restaurant, it's not. We're not building professional office space.
I'm just looking at some of the other things that are kind of also triggered in this, where it talks about EV charging stations, expansion of bicycle and pedestrian pathways. There's other provisions in this section that really wouldn't fit into what you're proposing.
And I feel like when we were talking about the planned commercial development, we were kind of talking about rejuvenating
Mixed use.
warehouse point.
Yeah,
Get that.
and it was kind of guided towards mixed use.
We did just make parcels over 10 acres. Started it. So
Okay.
Yeah. I'd definitely like to reread this entire section over and see what
I don't
else.
think it hurts anything just to continue it for a couple of weeks and
I agree.
we can read it again about it some more. I can talk with, the proof and Mike and figure out what's happening.
I think that's agreeable to all.
Thank you for giving us a little time to come in and talk. Sorry, I thought it was going to be quick, but didn't turn out. So, but at any rate, we'll be back in a couple of weeks. Thank you.
Kim. Okay. Next item on our agenda is the CEO report.
No.
See a lot of yellow. It's getting.
That Danielle has begun background work for other automotive different repair suite. So that's coming. Digging in pretty deep today, so I'm for that. That one issues ongoing, made some good milestones. Yeah, that 140 rare property that they approved mitigation plan for that area. They still working behind Baggett's Nursery where there's large fill areas. And the concept plans for that. And then it was mentioned earlier in the agenda, the public comment. There is open violation in Newbury Village where there was an area of wetlands in between two ponds. That is part of the conservation area that has a berm that needs to be filled.
There been any discussion or commitment or anything on that yet, or?
Yes, and it's a violation. We should go for within any time frame.
Okay.
He missed his first deadline, so fines have started. They're on.
This 82 Prospect's been ongoing for quite a while, so.
Prospect.
Yeah.
Yes. So that unregistered vehicles are parked out front.
Yeah, right by the road, yeah.
Yeah. No.
Okay. And next item we have is a comment letter on solar application for 379 Scantic Road. South Windsor.
I'm sure the commission is aware that there is an application before the town of South Windsor for a solar development. So as part of the requirements, we received notice. I did not receive the hard copy back on November 12th. When I went looking for it, when the notice came out about the hearing, it was in the clerk's office. And I sent in, you have a copy of the letter that I had prepared for the town planner. And it addresses It's a large parcel, 15+ acres, almost 16 acres, where an acre and a half lies in East Windsor. There's no work proposed in East Windsor. But just over the line, maybe 20-30 feet away is where the solar panels begin. And so I discussed requesting of their commission to consider setbacks from town lines. We don't know what's going to
Not from the
happen.
property
with
line,
that.
from the town.
Police property. Or maybe reconfiguration of the array itself. So that public hearing was scheduled to take place tonight, but it has been postponed until the 28th. A couple of weeks.
Okay. Did you get any correspondence back as to, or that they're gonna
I spoke with their.
read this into the
planner.
record, or they're
It
gonna?
is part of the record.
Okay,
I formally submitted as part of the record. The town planner said she will make it part of the record. She also discussed the town, East Windsor, has some concern. She's talked to the developer, and she'll raise those issues with them. I saw that they had submitted a revised set of plans late last week, maybe, or maybe Tuesday, late last week. And I didn't see any difference in layout really. But the project itself, it's like just below the threshold where it would have to go to siting council. But South Windsor has very detailed regulations for large and small solar based on the acreage of the parcel. So this is falling into large, and so they have some more requirements on the large solar. What these folks are following.
Okay. I guess we'll follow and see what develops out of this. We have nothing under correspondence, nothing under business meeting. We have no need for an executive session. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to bring up this evening? Staff is all set? No one has anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Call for a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned at 7:43.